Hello and welcome. I'm Olivia, your safety trainer, here with today's lesson on rolling scaffolding, self-propelling, or surfing. Before we begin, remember to sign off on your mobile device or online to receive credit for this training. If you feel the need to pause this video at any time to have a discussion, we encourage you to do so. Rolling scaffolds are a type of supported scaffolding that is on wheels or casters and is mobile. They can be easily moved and are useful to employees who must perform elevated tasks that require a working platform for jobs such as drywall, painting, or plastering. In this lesson, we will discuss the general requirements and how to avoid potential hazards to make sure all employees are safe. While scaffolds may have more specific requirements, in general, manufactured scaffolds should be used in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations. For instance, scaffold manufacturers generally discourage the practice of riding on a rolling scaffold. Some other general rules employees should follow when using a rolling scaffold include: only one employee may ride on the rolling scaffold without assistance from below. The scaffold platform may not be more than 4 feet above the floor. The working platform may not be less than 20 inches wide, with no more than 1 inch between planks if planks are used. The rolling scaffold is to be provided with an effective locking device to prevent movement of the wheels or casters whenever an employee is climbing on or off or is working on the scaffold. All wheels or casters need to be strong enough to support at least 4 times the maximum intended load. Additionally, at least 2 of the 4 wheels or casters need to be the swivel type. The use of power systems such as motor vehicles, add-on motors, or battery-powered equipment to propel a rolling scaffold is prohibited. Employees who ride on rolling scaffolds and employees that assist in moving employees riding on a rolling scaffold need to be trained to recognize the associated hazards.
Hey everyone! If you just watched this video and are thinking, how do I get more of these videos? Click on this link or go to GotSafety.com and we'll show you how you can digitally sign and record employee training records, build custom forms, or even access your OSHA documentation. Go to GotSafety.com right now or call 1-800-734-3574 for more information.